But if you don't have abs, you're fat. So I was scrolling through my feed today, and one of Greg Doucette's videos popped up, which was weird because I unfollowed Greg years ago when he started screeching like a parrot on the couch, doing his fake voice with his fake plugs for his fake testosterone and cookbook that's just adding sugar, fake sugar packets to everything. So I was like, all right, I'll click on it. I watched the very beginning of it, so it's not completely a blind reaction. Well, I saw it was about Alex Eubank getting hospitalized. I don't follow the Instagram and TikTok influencers at all, so I have no idea what this video is about. But we'll see if Greg's on point for once, or if he's full of shit like he usually is.
Literally making a video talking about how he's having chest arrhythmias and how problematic it is. Was going to talk about that, explain what was going on. And last I checked, he ends up in a stretcher being taken away by ambulance. And so clearly, this is more serious than last time. It all began with him saying, it's time to detox my body. I'm not going to eat for 48 hours. And he states this is for religious reasons, but it could also be because he was having these heart arrhythmias. The guy wanted to detox the body. Remember.
So he's having heart arrhythmias, but he's drinking caffeine all day. Wasn't that his problem at one point, was hammering too much pre-workout? As I said, I'm not really up to date on a lot of the random 20-year-old influencers, but that doesn't make much sense to me.
I've stated that the guy is not natural. It's my opinion. I don't have a 100% proof, but if you watch my video, it's more likely than not that the guy is taking something.
I'm going to go get...
Which I also agree with. I've seen he did videos with like Bradley Martin or somebody at a TRT clinic, and then he'd done blood work around that time that showed his testosterone was crashed and that some of his other markers were off, which kind of coincides with more of a SARM cycle than actually blasting gear. And looking at his physique, he doesn't look like he's blasting anything hard. He doesn't have the big rounded cap delts or anything. But it would not surprise me if he's dabbled in SARMs, considering the peer pressure and his blood work results.
A stress heart test. I've been having like breathing issues lately, and then I've also been having like heart palpitations. I think it's just because my anxiety's been coming back really bad.
Now, in fact, be having some heart palpitations or breathing difficulties because of the anxiety, or perhaps because he's having problems with his chest and breathing, it's causing him to have more anxiety. Think of it. Would you not be stressed out if you're going to the gym, you're getting heart palpitations, your heart is slow for a bit, fast for a bit, it's not beating in its normal rhythm? That would cause me to have serious anxiety. I'd certainly go to a hospital and have myself checked out. And so he's going to get a stress test to see, is he okay or is he not okay? And so during this stress test, they're going to try to reenact the arrhythmia. He's probably going to be out running faster than last time to see what exactly is the problem. And so they can examine the EKG and determine, is it good, bad, is it okay? What can they do to fix it? And so I remember back in the day, about 10 years ago, Allie was drinking pre-workouts, going to the gym, and she experienced the exact same thing. She said, my heart, I'm having palpitations. It doesn't feel good. I was very nervous. I said, we got to rush to a hospital, but it went away. And so what did she do? She quit drinking pre-workouts altogether. And so Alex Eubank, we know in his past, consumed a lot of caffeine. And as of late, he's reduced his caffeine consumption.
Which that makes sense. I also had a couple times where I'd have like the fluttering heart feeling and all that, drinking too much caffeine. A lot of the pre-workouts are overkill. I actually don't even take one anymore, to be honest. I feel like I'm a lot better. I might take a little bit of caffeine. Like I might grab like a Ghost or a Monster like once in a blue moon if I'm really dragging ass. But in terms of pre-workout, a lot of times when your heart rate's up, it just affects your pump, and you really just don't feel like you're getting as good a contraction. So I tend to skip out on them too now.
Perhaps that's because he's been suffering with these palpitations for a long time. And so one of the problems with taking steroids is that it increases your sympathetic drive. You're more on edge, you're more aggressive.
So you went from saying he's only taking SARMs and now he's taking steroids, Greg.
It becomes harder to sleep. And this can happen with any stressors, for example, caffeine, ephedrine, other stimulants, or perhaps even taking anabolic steroids. And so remember, Alex Eubank had his testosterone levels checked and they were at 932, his all-time high. And isn't that wonderful? Well, maybe or maybe not. What if that increased his sympathetic drive, caused him to have these heart palpitations, getting arrhythmias, and it led to an SVT? And so what that is supraventricular tachycardia. So it's a very fast heart rate.
All right, it's tachycardia, not tachycardia. But also, you think about the stress from not eating and drinking a bunch of caffeine, that also could play into it. Most likely the case.
And so if this should ever happen to you, remember your heart is beating faster than last time. What you should do is basically the Valsalva maneuver. It's kind of like when you're ready to poop yourself. You squeeze down hard, bear down hard, hold it for 15 seconds. Perhaps you'll shit yourself, but it might in fact save your life. In doing the Valsalva maneuver, you're allowing the body to go from the sympathetic state to the parasympathetic state. And what that means is you go from being in a fight or flight mode to a rest and relax, chilled out mode.
Like in this video, you'll see I go to bench 275. I should be able to hit 275 for like 3+ reps, and I only was able to do one because I knew if I did another one, muscular-wise, I could do it, but I felt like my cardiovascular, like I couldn't breathe. I felt like I was gonna pass out. My heart would start beating too much.
And so if you're in the gym and it feels like you could do several reps on the bench.
Well, also, when you're eating literally 0 calories for 2 days straight and go to train, you're not going to have the same neural drive you normally would. So there's definitely more than one factor at play here. I don't know why he did the fast exactly. I'd have to go look it up. It just doesn't seem like a good idea if you're still going to try to train while you're fasting. You should probably just skate through your workout or not even go to the gym if you're going to be fasting like that, because you're just going to crash your blood sugar more likely than anything else. I had my brother do that. He came down from New York literally in May. So what, 3 months ago? And he came down, he drove 13 hours, slept in my bed for like another 8. Right back here where the dog's at. So we went to the gym, and next thing you know, he's getting all lightheaded, feeling like his heart's beating out of his chest and all that. I asked him, hey, have you ate today? No. I grabbed the Rice Krispie out of my bag, had him eat that, and he perked right back up to normal. So sometimes it could be your blood sugar also. Not saying that's the case with Eubank exactly, but something else to keep in mind.
And you can only hit one, even though your muscles are strong enough, but you can't do it because your cardiovascular system can't support it. This is known as exercise intolerance and is a red flag for something more serious going on. And so a little foreshadowing, he ends up being taken to hospital in a stretcher.
It's still happening pretty bad. Last night I had like a pretty bad panic attack, and I had like 3 heart palpitations in a row, bro. I thought I was done for. I thought it was GG's in chat. And people were asked, like, sliding up here, like, yo, why are you like having anxiety? Like anybody would die to be in the position that you're in. And I'm like, bro, obviously, yeah, I'm blessed, but doesn't mean I don't suffer through daily things.
This dude literally talks like he's fucking typing on a keyboard in real life. Saying GG's in the chat when you're sitting in your car. What the fuck, dude?
Just as much as the next person.
And so remember, don't wait. If you're having these serious heart palpitations to this extent, look how serious this is. Do you not think you should go get checked out by a doctor? Alex Eubank states, people say, why you have anxiety? You have millions of
But Greg, you're not a doctor, so stop talking about it.
Followers, millions of dollars. What does that have to do with anything? Perhaps that's even makes it worse. So many people are watching, perhaps the stress is getting to him, and it makes it that much harder. And so he's starting off his bulk by going on a fast for 48 hours.
Which
That's
makes no
where you
fucking
consume
sense.
hardly.
You're starting a bulk by eating 0 calories for 2 days. That's the exact opposite. It's like going on keto on a bulk for bodybuilding. That makes no sense whatsoever. Some of these guys just blow my mind. Like, you'd think they would be educated because they're like way up there on a pedestal, but they don't know shit.
Any calories. Perhaps he needs 3,000 calories a day to maintain his weight. If he doesn't eat for 48 hours, that's going to cause a 6,000 calorie deficit. And so how are we bulking if we're starting it off with
Exactly.
that would be analogous to saying, I'm
Okay.
going to go on a diet and eating 10,000 calories a day for the first 2 days and then starting my cut after. It doesn't make sense. And so he starts his fast. He's not consuming calories. He goes to the gym, burns off more calories, and then suddenly feels like he almost passes out. He continues on this fast, and lo and behold, he ends up in a stretcher being taken away by ambulance. And so listen, I personally am not against fasting, but if it's done for religious feelings and or for any other reason that you feel is important, then that's on you. I'm not against you doing it. I personally don't believe in fasting. I think it's important to get in our nutrients, drink our water, and be healthy.
I'm the same way when it comes, especially gym performance wise. I know some people do it for religious reasons or for cognitive reasons, like Vigorous Steve likes to every now and then just to clear his mind up for work. in those niche situations, I can understand it. Or if you have a job where you're out working construction or something, you say, and you can't eat for 8 hours, and you want to get all your calories in at once, and you want a 6,000 calorie meal, and so be it. But if you're really trying to optimize performance in the gym or athletically, it's really not a good idea to go on a fast.
But in Alex's case, it did not end well. And so obviously we hope for the best. We hope it's nothing too serious, that he can overcome this. And we do not know if this is the result of taking possibly performance enhancing drugs or if it's from some other cause.
Alright, thank you everybody who was worried about me. Your boy's chilling, just to be like relaxing all day today. I think it's related to the fast. I talked about it in the YouTube video because I was vlogging my whole fast, and then it happened near the end of the first day. But my whole body basically just shut down. I was like incapacitated. I couldn't
Dude was in a 3,000 calorie deficit for 1 day and shut down.
move. Probably the scariest things that ever happened in my life.
But one thing you should consider is please be careful with over-consuming pre-workout. Don't go harder than last time, triple scooping perhaps. If you are getting heart palpitations or arrhythmias and so forth, please go and get checked out by your doctor.
And then if the 4 is doable and I want to like really go crazy with the bulk series, you might up it up to 5.
And remember, he's going on a bulk series, trying to get up to 200 pounds.
Yeah, so I would say Greg's making it sound like he takes a lot of stimulants and he's documented that in the past. If you're on a bulk, you don't want to be on a ton of stimulants either. If you're on a cut, I know some guys need to rail down some of the clen and ephedrine and everything else just to burn more body fat. And I think some of Alex's problem is he wants to stay lean year round, like super lean. And we all know that's not conducive to putting on a ton of muscle mass and to being optimally healthy. So I think that's all playing into what's happening here.
If you increase calories, increase body fat, and force feed, especially while taking performance-enhancing drugs, this can have a dramatic effect on your blood pressure, which could clearly make...
But if you don't have abs, you're fat.
He has abs. Just because you have abs doesn't mean you are lean. If you do not have abs, you are fat. If you don't have abs, you are fat. Fat. If you can't see your abs, you're fat. If you can't see your abs, you're fat. Sorry to tell you what you need to hear, not what you want to hear.
According to Greg.
even more problems with your cardiovascular system. And so one benefit of an Apple Watch is if you do in fact wear one, it will start beeping like crazy. If you do or have an arrhythmia, if your heart is no longer working properly, it will kind of give you a warning signal to allow you to go to the hospital and get yourself checked out. And as I record this 7 hours ago, dang bro, he's carried away on a stretcher, and so clearly very serious. If it wasn't so serious, he could be sitting up, he would walk out, perhaps be on a wheelchair, but seeing as he's being taken out by a stretcher, it's gotta be a little bit serious, a little bit concerning.
But we're good now. We're chilling. I'm gonna go make some appointments with some different doctors, make sure everything else is chilling. But yeah.
Like the video if you liked it, subscribe and click the bell button, and if you want any of the supplements, cookbooks, training books, all that kind of stuff, go to...
All right, we're cutting it off right there. I'm not listening to the whole cookbook spiel. But yeah, I tend to agree with Greg for the most part. It is a little scary seeing some guys like Eubank and other influencers. I don't know if Eubank himself does coaching, but a lot of them, you'll see coaching links, and they give out these programs and advice on workout programs and training protocols, when in reality they're wrecking themselves doing it. They're just getting away based on their genetics, and then they're passing it down to somebody else who then hurts themselves, which I hate seeing. It's one of those things. They probably don't realize they're doing something wrong. They think they're doing something right. And you've seen it for years, like your old football coaches that taught your dad something, like their grandpa taught them something, and they pass it down to you, and it goes down the line like that, but it's some super outdated things that don't need to be in there. I like to think like physical therapy, the sleeper stretch. Like people love doing that for the shoulders, or used to love doing it in like the 80s, 90s, early 2000s. And around 04 it got outdated. There was a bunch of research on it. It shows that it just puts a ton of strain on the rotator cuff. And yet you still have doctors to this day, 20 years later, that prescribe it. I don't do it with my patients. I refuse to. There are other ways to get internal rotation that don't impinge the rotator cuff, especially fresh after surgery, which that's a whole different topic we can go into in a different video if we want to. But that's just one of the things I hate to see. You know, ill-informed advice that gets passed down by someone who's up on a pedestal. People look up to them. They think they know what they're talking about. And next thing you know, it's just permeated everywhere. And it's hard to walk it back and get the real information out there. But if you like this, go ahead and drop a comment in
my comment section.
And I'll see you in the next one.